One of the great temptations in education reform is to talk as though innovation arrives evenly, as though every school has the same connectivity, every teacher the same support, every learner the same device, the same confidence, the same chance to benefit, the same ability. But of course, they do not have all of that. And that is why equity must be part of the generative AI conversation from the very beginning, not added later as an apology. The OECD is very clear on this point. Jurisdictions should ensure equitable digital infrastructure and support, including devices, connectivity, digital resources, and professional learning, so that all students and teachers can benefit from generative AI. It also notes that the need for curriculum-aligned resources, alternatives where divides persist, and sustained professional learning to support meaningful and inclusive use. This is such an important point, because if AI becomes powerful in education but only available well to some, then it does not reduce inequality. It actually amplifies it. An education system knows something about that already. We have seen it before. A promising innovation appears, and those with stronger infrastructure, more confidence, more support, and more time begin using it effectively. Meanwhile, others are left with patchy access, uncertain guidance, inadequate training, and the distinct feeling that they are being asked to modernize without the means to do so. Now, that is not transformation, it is actually stratification. So, when we talk about infrastructure, we must think beyond machines. While I agree that devices matter, but so does connectivity, so does platforms, and so does professional learning abilities, implementation support, access to trusted resources that actually connect to the curriculum and classroom reality. Because a tool in itself is not access. Access means having the conditions to use something well. And that is a much deeper idea. The same is true for teachers and professors. If we want teachers to use generative AI meaningfully, then we must stop imagining that a policy memo and a login will suffice. Faculty need time, examples, reflections, collaborations, creativity, permission to experiment and fail, support to the questions that they ask, guidance on limits as well as possibilities. In other words, they need what professionals in every field need when major change arrives: serious investment in learning. And then students, they also need thoughtful scaffolding. Not all learners come to technology with same fluency or confidence. Not all homes offer the same digital environment. Not all communities have the same resources. So a just education system must plan for differences, not pretend that these don't exist. This is why inclusive infrastructure is not merely about fairness. It is about educational quality. Because the effectiveness of an innovation depends partly on whether people can access it reliably, understand it properly, and use it in ways that support actual learning. Otherwise, we confuse availability with impact. So perhaps the question is not, do we have AI in education? But the question is, do we have the conditions for everyone to benefit from it meaningfully? That is a much harder and a poignant question, and much more important one as well. Because the promise of education is not a few people race ahead. It is that everybody is given the chance to grow. And any digital future worth building must honor that promise. Thank you.